It's Auto In with your hosts, Seth Kelly, Will Moulton, and Garrett Walder, with special guest, Will Diamant. In this episode, how did the idea for Auto In come about? What does each host do to make it happen? And a special look at all the behind-the-scenes elements that make this podcast possible. Without further ado, Auto In.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 2-hour special episode of Auto In. We're going to be in here for 2 hours. Garrett has prepared for us a song about Auto In that he will sing at the end. We have a special musical performance from him. Will has got a dance that he's going to teach you.
That's Will Moulton.
This is, Will Moulton. Absolutely. And that was actually, as you can probably see from the time code, this is not a 2-hour episode of Auto In.
It's not?
This is.
Oh, you got me excited, Seth.
I honestly was kind of excited too.
Yeah, I was kind of like, you didn't tell me about this beforehand, but I'm down to talk for 2 hours.
This would be like, it'd be a full episode's length for every segment, which that would be crazy.
That would be interesting.
But yeah,
an entire episode on Garrett's opinions on energy drinks, possibly. I was going to talk about that earlier, actually. Before you started, I was about to just launch into my ramblings, my insane ramblings that I've written down on like the walls of an insane asylum somewhere about how...
Before you get into that, we should probably introduce ourselves. That's a cross between myself and ourselves.
Didn't I already do this for us, like before the podcast started?
Yeah, but this is just kind of... You know what? Now I've never thought about that before. Why do we introduce ourselves when Will has already introduced us? Anyway,
I think this calls for some kind of clarification here because
yes,
well, it distinguishes our voices.
Yes,
that's a good point.
Good point. Yeah, that was the reason the whole time.
Yeah,
good
job. Great foresight there.
Well, my name is Seth Kelly. I'm one of our hosts. The other host for this episode, or at least the first 2 segments, is...
Hello! I am Garrett Walder. You probably remember me from when Will Diamant said my name in the intro.
Yes.
Also, you may remember me. Let's see if I can do this time. From episode 1, 2, 4, 6, 7,
most
8?
of our listeners will probably not be able to listen to episode 4 because it's shrouded in mystery.
Oh my goodness.
You may have heard this guest already from the very beginning of the episode, but his name, which you may not have known from listening to the podcast, is...
Oh, Will Diamant. That's me. I do all the intros for every episode. And I'm not to be confused with Will Moulton, the other Will, who, might I say... No, I'm not going to say that. He's a good guy.
Might I say... I'm not going to say. That was a very actually Will Moulton thing to say.
Ooh.
May I say... I'm not going to say that.
Well, I said might I say. There's a distinction.
Oh, yes.
Could it be that Will Diamant is actually just Will Moulton's alter ego? Like a superhero identity?
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, which one's the superhero? That's an important distinction to draw.
Well, are you a superhero?
I just thought of a great concept for a superhero movie. So it's a superhero, but he has multiple personality disorder. It's like a Dr. Jekyll and or a Jekyll and Hyde kind of deal. I don't know who's the doctor and who's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but the other personality is the sidekick.
Oh.
I don't know how that would affect his combat.
And then, know, like in Broadway, how they have those quick change outfits, right? That like the girl will be wearing a dress and will spin around and it becomes a different dress or whatever sort of thing.
Oh,
It'd be
okay.
like that, where he's just like in a suit, spins around, and now he's in the sidekick suit, and he's like, "Good job,
me,
bird boy," and then and then he spins around, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, nest lad."
Bird Boy and Nest Lad coming to a Marvel Cinematic Universe near you.
Better copyright this before someone steals your idea because it's that good.
I know.
Right?
This is really good. Will, could you give us a little demonstration of the intro, just to give us a little, so that our viewers can believe that you were the one that did the intro.
Honestly, if they don't, blessed are those who believe before hearing. Sure, I can. It's
good one. I think we'll just leave it at that. Okay, moving on.
We're gonna cut that out.
No, I think
we're gonna go back for round 2. No, you know what? You're right. Just move on.
Round
2,
fight.
That was perfect. Okay, well,
it's Auto In with your host.
Let's
Will
move
Moulton.
into what we're actually going to talk about this week, and that is Auto In. Just today, we're going to talk about Auto In. We're going to give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look for 2 straight hours on Auto In. I'm kidding.
We're not even breaks. Wow,
Keeping my hopes up.
Yeah,
We're
no
not even gonna
breaks.
take
We're not
breaks this
even.
time. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to take negative breaks.
Also,
which
I'm
is
assuming no cuts and no editing.
Yeah. Okay. So how did we each get involved with Auto In is going to be the question. I'll start off answering this because I was, of course, the first one to get involved in Auto In. I think we explained this earlier in the podcast, but the reason we started Auto In is that we needed something to come into work and do. There were no games because of COVID. They weren't sure what they were going to do about games. And so I had the idea because we had like a little content meeting with 3 of us, Caleb and Chris. And my idea was to do a podcast about operations at DBU Broadcast and get into some like broadcast advice and also talk about operations. And he liked that idea, and that was, by the way, the same meeting where No Ties was conceived. Like the idea was presented to us because Bon was a part of that meeting, and he said, "Hey, I have this idea for a sports recap show, video show," and I said, "Hey, I have this idea for a podcast," and so that being said, I was working on a bunch of on a whole Word document of ideas, which ended up being a lot of our episodes, just because a lot of the episodes, it was pretty easy to think of ideas because they all had to do with like jobs that we did at DBU Broadcast. And so when I came into work to do that, Will Moulton was also at work, and we were already talking the previous semester about doing a podcast of some sort together. So I knew that he would be interested in this, and so I came to him and I said, "Hey, would you be interested? I'm working on a podcast that I'm thinking of calling Auto In, and it's going to be about broadcasting operations and things like that." And he said, "Yeah." So we had our first kind of little meeting, just impromptu, right there. So Garrett, how did you get involved in Auto In?
Dude, I don't even remember what I did yesterday. I don't remember what happened like beginning of the semester.
So what is Auto In anyway?
Wait, I go to DBU. How'd I get here?
Why am I here?
I thought I got rejected from this place. Why am I here? I didn't actually get rejected from this place, by the way. I got accepted.
Breaking and entering.
I don't actually go here. I've just been moonlighting as a student this entire time.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know about the podcast until I believe either Seth or Caleb Todd reached out to me and it was like, "Hey, we have a meeting for the podcast on this day." And I was like,
"What podcast?"
Excuse me, podcast. And they were like, "Yeah, we assigned you to this, or we like put you on this podcast." And then whoever it was like, "I mean, if you don't want to do it, then like, we can move you to something else." I'm like, no, that sounds awesome. That sounds super cool. Podcasts are super fun. I would love to do that. I just had no idea that I was even being considered for that, right?
Right.
So I then started talking to Seth and Will Moulton about how that was all going to work, and then we came in and recorded, and then that's how I got started with the podcast. So that was fun.
In fact, I just remembered in our first podcast meeting with the 3 of us, Will had the idea to do a Muppet Show style theme song.
Oh, that's
for the
right,
podcast. Yeah. And I had an idea that was kind of similar to like a Saturday Night Live kind of feel. And it ended up being the intro for this podcast. And then the theme song was produced by Jesse Liked later. But I was actually, at first I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know how we're going to fit this in. But the more he mentioned it, I was just kind of like, you know what? Let's kind of try it. And the only reason it's not our intro now is that we just never really got around to like planning it out and actually getting it done.
And it honestly turned out really cool the more we worked on it. But it was really just a situation of we didn't ever put in the time to like test it and try it out because it was going to be a lot more. It was going to be a lot more involved and complex and require a lot more time commitment.
Yeah, we were going to have to do a lot more than we ended up being able to do for the theme song.
Yes. I like what we have now, though. I think it sounds really good.
Yeah, and it was a good arrangement because that way we could focus on recording the podcast and working on the content. and get someone else to do the music, especially since none of us three are extremely practiced in like making industry like level, music. And this guy is a lot better at doing that. No, I'm talking about me, Will. He's gesturing to himself. I'm talking about me, Will Moulton, and Garrett.
I feel like there's still probably confusion between Will and Will. Those two people are just
Oh, true.
wholly unusual.
Do you have a different name you'd like to go by, Will?
Will.
You
is
Will.
Good. Yeah.
Will?
Yeah, Will is good.
How about Lil?
Liu?
Lil.
Liu.
Lil. Lil.
Lil Will.
Lil Will.
Is that my rapper name?
We can have Will and Lil Will.
Lil Diamant.
Lil, okay.
Lil and Will.
Okay.
We just broke Will. I've
what-
never seen this happen. He normally has something to say.
I have like 8 circuits, and when like one of them shorts, I just shut down.
It's like everything is connected to one breaker.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly.
irreducibly complex
If
system.
something flips
let me
the breaker,
just press the reset
everything
button.
goes down.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, he's back.
Hey everybody, it's me, Will Diamant. Welcome to Auto In.
Now that sounded more like the intro.
A little,
There we go.
a little more joyous, perhaps.
It's odd.
During the intro, I'm like, it's Auto In.
Actually,
Very serious.
So in the intro, I ended up like using for like it's auto in. I think that was your only take where you did like it's auto in,
It's
and the rest
auto-
of them were like it's auto in
like,
with your host.
Welcome back. Allow me to get my monocle. Auto In. Very, very exciting.
academics. Today we will be exploring the chapter of our great textbook Auto In, known as Episode 14. Today we will be
All right.
discussing the deep intricacies of Moby Dick, even though the author said that it had no deep intricacies.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Really?
Yeah, he said
Oh.
that it's literally just a story about a dude fighting a whale.
I mean, it's a pretty cool story about
And
a dude
then
fighting a whale.
Are you serious?
all the literature majors are like, yes, we must we must find the symbolism in this.
Because I figured out recently that Ernest Hemingway said something very similar about The Old Man and the Sea.
Oh, really?
How they said there is no symbol for the old man. It's just an old man. There is no symbol for the sea.
Wait, really?
There is just a sea. Yeah.
I had to read that book in high school, and it was so trash, dude. That makes so much more sense.
No
it's
wonder
literally
there's
just
no
about
symbol.
a guy and a fish.
A guy and a fish. A timeless classic.
Oh, dude, no, it's such. Oh,
A fish
Stories
and
like Moby Dick, A Little Mermaid, and The Old Man in the Sea.
The Little Mermaid, did that have any deep, like, metaphysical kind of element to it?
Dude, if
I
you ask
mean-
Jordan Peterson, he'll go for hours on that.
Oh, really?
He and Disney cartoons are like the older ones. He goes deep in those.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson and Disney cartoons? I'm going to look that up later
No, you
because
should.
that sounds
They're
interesting, yeah. I mean, Little Mermaid is about, wanting something. Basically, what you want isn't always what you need, I guess, kind of.
He'll break it down.
It's
at
like
a
wanting
metaphysical
something
level.
so much that you're willing to sacrifice what makes you to achieve it, and then ultimately realize that it wasn't worth it in the end. I guess is a way you could read into Little Mermaid.
that's almost Cinderella and Tangled
I mean, they're
And
obviously
Frozen.
pretty similar.
and Moana.
Oh my goodness! I haven't even seen Moana yet.
Moana's pretty good. I like it.
I actually haven't seen Moana either, but I know I know that there's like this general sentiment that she has where she's like cooped up on this island and she's like, island's cool and everything, but look at all of that sea out there. I want to be there.
It's kind of like
We are the
I
last
wanna
people
be
who should be discussing
where
this.
the Mauis are.
She wants
I
to
want
be.
to see. I don't know what is
Moana.
do?
Moana. Sea?
Wanna
Oh, that was
see
bad.
Moana-
That
Moana
was a bad
Sea.
pun. I'm not gonna go over that.
That was so good.
Let's roll it on back. I have honestly had no idea what is going on this entire time I've been in here. Where are we?
We've kind of lost
Well,
the original point of whatever we were talking about.
Okay, let's roll it back. We did the intro, we did the people, and we did how
Well-
are we involved with Auto? How did we get to know about?
We never
Auto
talked
In,
about
right?
how you got involved with Auto
How
In.
did I get involved with Auto In?
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you get involved with Auto In?
An excellent question. Thanks for asking it, Seth.
You're welcome.
Dude, you just came up to me and you're like, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast." I'm like, "Hey, I do audio," and you're like, "Hey, you can do the intros," and I was like, "Hey, that sounds great." And all that to say, It's auto in.
That's pretty much it.
Hey, what was really cool about that though? So I don't know about Seth, but I originally met Will Diamant
That's right.
through our voice and
Well, we
articulation
were in the same
class,
all three of us.
Yes.
Me too. We were. in the
Wait,
same
we all
class.
knew each other before auto in? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Actually,
So I originally met Will Diamant through our voice and articulation class, and as the name suggests, it was all about basically learning to articulate and speak really well.
Not that we're any good at it, by the way. Just, putting that out there.
I mean, we're trash.
I'm a little concerned now that I mentioned that I went through a voice and articulation course.
Me too.
And I'm on a podcast, and it's like I don't even know.
Ever even articulate anything?
Yeah, it's like I'm really scared that I'm not using what I was taught in that class, and people are going to be like, "Wait, you went in a voice and articulation? I couldn't tell." But anyway,
You mean taught and couldn't?
oh yes, sorry.
Don't forget your plosives.
What?
Sorry about that one.
You need to
There we-
pop
oh,
your
there we go.
plosives.
You turned away from the microphone for that.
So
you need to pop your plosive.
So I play Dungeons and Dragons with a guy named Robert who he speaks super articulately and it's awesome. But he does the thing like for what and stuff like that where he like does the like sound. So it's like he says like what and like whisp and stuff like that, and it's super
yeah.
cool. But it always reminds me of voice and articulation and how it's like I should be doing that, but I'm not. But anyway, my point with all of this is that I met Will through that, and
Will Diamant.
Will Diamant.
You guys can just call me something else if you want. Like,
Let's call you.
I don't know if people get
Samuel
confused
is your first name, correct?
How did you come by this information?
Because we
How do you
knew
know-
each other before
How do you
auto
know what my real name is?
Full disclosure, we're actually roommates.
What?
Me and Will.
Okay, that's like half.
Oh my gosh,
disclosure.
they were roommates.
That's 100%.
That's like. I mean,
I didn't say it like half-heartedly. Like,
I mean,
roommates
some things
anyway.
might still be obscured. Who really knows what the definition of roommate is? Like, yeah, who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's all up in the air at this point.
They have
He's
a
just
rooming
embarrassed that
agreement.
I'm his roommate. That's why. He's,
Wow.
I mean, when you put it that way,
when you put it that way, it's kind of true.
That's an
Yeah.
accurate way you can say
I mean,
it.
you're all right. I mean, it's not like I live with you or anything.
I wouldn't define the emotion as embarrassment. I would define it more as like awkward resentment, you know? But anyway, so my point with all of this is I remembered Will Diamant's, and like one of the things that I first noticed about him in that class was that he has an awesome voice, right? Like he has an awesome speaking voice, especially when he like plays into it like he does for the intro, right? Because he can do that awesome announcer voice where he's like, "It's auto in."
Yes.
That did not sound anything like it, but it's fine.
That sounds like a wrestler intro. Like,
It's auto in with your host,
Time is now.
Seth
But-
Kelly.
Let's get ready to rumble.
So that 10-minute rumble.
Like some kind of like grind metal or
I think I know
grindcore
where you're going with
scream
this.
through the middle of like a breakdown. Like breakdown in a song, not like a mental breakdown. I mean, maybe a mental breakdown too. Dude's like on the middle of stage. Everybody just thinks he's having like a great time up there. He's actually just like
the worst migraine I've ever had.
He's having a full-blown panic attack.
you're like, dang, that was the most brutal metal scream I've ever heard. He's actually just up there like, where am I? But
Yeah. So basically, that's me. That's what he's trying to get at, just to bring it full circle.
okay, what I'm actually trying to get at is that when I asked Seth one time who we were getting for the intro, and he said, my roommate, Will Diamant, and I was like, oh, heck yes, that's going to sound awesome.
Yeah,
and then it did.
Weren't we all at one point in like a group call because COVID hit?
Yeah.
And Garrett, Seth, and I all shared voice and articulation and Old Testament survey, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So while we were studying for Old Testament survey, we talked about, I don't know how it went, man. Somebody.
I know
patch
that
it.
you
Somebody
like
patch this
pulled
in.
out a trailer voice, and I was like, "That's amazing," and started like sending you requests in the chat of things to say.
That's
in your
right.
trailer voice.
That's right. Because I had to get up and like go put a plate up or something because I was eating something. And then like I came back and I put my headphones on and Will was just over there saying random stuff in like this cool announcer voice.
I've got a segue for you. it appears in Paul Blart Mall Cop, and you stand on it, and it goes and it goes forward.
The segue from Paul Blart Mall Cop?
That one, yeah.
That.
Yep. Let me go and get it.
Wait, you have it?
Oh my gosh!
You have it here in the studio?
He's
Oh my
bringing a
gosh, he
segue
has it.
into the studio, and it's signed by Paul Blart himself, folks. I can't believe what I'm seeing here.
And
I wish
he
you could see
has
it with
the
me.
Guitar Hero arcade machine in his arms that Paul
Oh
Blart played
my
that kept
goodness.
him after hours in the movie so he could stop the robbers at the mall.
Incredible, folks.
Now, as amazing as this is, I just want you to also know that I have a second segue.
A second segue.
Wait,
Second segue.
Wait, okay, just tell me right now, Seth.
Okay.
Is it the segue from Paul Blart Mall Cop 2?
Whoa.
No, that's the third segue that I'm going to show you off air.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But for this second segue, which is even more special than both of them combined, all right?
Okay.
No, wait. Okay.
We're going to go to a break.
What?
Yeah, and
Oh my
then
goodness.
after that break, we're going to talk about what each host does to make the show happen, what a week of the work on the podcast looks like, what technology is involved, and what we use to distribute the podcast. We're going to try and cram all that into the second segment, and it's going to be a fun time. So strap yourselves in, put on your seatbelts, and we're getting ready to get into the second segment.
That was the sound of a seatbelt.
I'm not one for a workers' strike, but I need to unionize after that.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, that was the break?
That was the break.
That was like
Yep.
2 seconds IRL.
So far,
I
you've
feel robbed. I definitely have to unionize after that one.
so far you've
I
had
didn't
the
even
best
get a break.
reaction to our breaks because it's always funny whenever we have the guest on and we don't tell them that the breaks are only like 3 seconds
right.
long.
Is it because I'm the
what?
only one who protests these things? These are workers' rights. We have to be serious about this, guys.
Yep.
I have another thing to be serious about.
What?
What each host does to make the show happen.
Well, that was a good segue.
Yes, that was wonderful. We're known
as
for those
me,
in Ottawa.
you know what I do to make the show happen? Not a whole lot, actually. But I do give encouragement, and I do the intros, and I love all my brothers in Christ here. So,
Oh,
Indeed.
yeah.
He
also,
does, he
I
does
mean,
all
when
that.
we have our team meetings, he's usually in the background.
Oh,
of
that's a good
Seth's
point.
video.
That's true.
Sometimes I'm like banging on the bed frame. Sometimes I'm just like, singing a song, talking in the background, making noise.
One thing that I do to make the show happen is I edit the podcast.
Wow.
I edit it every week on a Tuesday. That's the plan because video production class is Tuesdays and Thursdays, but on Tuesdays it's online. So
for you.
I use that day to do video production work and also to edit the podcast. That's kind of my editing day so that I can get it shipped off for proofing by Chris and so that we can get it all done by theoretically Thursday at 5. Now, as we've become more busy with games and things like that, we've gone farther and farther off of the deadline. Or further. I guess it's further because it's a more abstract concept. So I don't know when this episode is supposed to come out. Technically, it was supposed to come out this past Thursday.
I
when
think
we-
it's coming out today.
I think
Because-
Seth will have this completely fully edited by today.
No, I'm pretty sure that like by the time people are listening to it, it will be that day. So by saying today,
That
Oh.
is true.
That's a good point.
So as you guys are listening to it, we are recording it in real time.
Yeah, this is actually live.
Please call in to 999-555.
That's probably a real number. Oh, no, 555. It's not a real number.
no.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
was like, where is he? Does he know the 555 rule?
Call in to 123-456 auto in.
That's probably also a number. No,
Give
it's
us-
not a number because it's too
Give
many.
us your opinion on what the best drink at your local Taco Bell is. And we will rate your opinion on a scale of 1 to 10.
Fellas, can we be real here for a second? If there is any drink that you're going to a Taco Bell for that is not Baja Blast, you're wrong.
I would agree.
Oh, I thought you were going to like give another alternative for a drink.
No.
Like if it's not going to be Baja Blast,
No.
it's going to be this drink.
If you're not going to Baja Blast, you're not going to Taco Bell. I have a friend who's very near and dear to my heart. He's a great guy. I love him to death. But when he goes to Taco Bell, he says that Baja Blast is not worth it.
Oh, no.
Now,
That's
there
an
is
age.
yet hope. There is yet hope. because today, in fact, just before we started recording, I mean, this is totally live, but just before we started recording, he sent me a Snapchat of him at Taco Bell with Baja Blast saying, yes, I am getting Baja Blast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a true redemption story.
Yeah, he really redeemed himself.
Yeah.
Like, he's grown so much in my eyes. Any of you have any Baja Blast stories you'd like to share? Any testimonies?
Yes, one time I went to a Taco Bell and I ordered a Baja Blast.
Really?
And then I drank it and it was good.
Wow, that is inspirational.
Last time I was at a Taco Bell, they were out of Baja Blast, actually.
And you left, right? And you just up and left.
Unfortunately,
Yep,
no.
you did.
I
Okay,
did
fellas,
not.
he left Taco Bell because they didn't have Baja Blast. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
What did you actually do?
What did I actually do?
Yes.
Well, I wasn't the one driving. I was in the passenger seat, so I was kind of just stuck going. Honestly, I probably would have just left if there was...
That's my boy.
If, like, it was, but I wasn't driving. I was stuck in the passenger seat. We weren't going to go anywhere else for dinner, so I was like, might as well get a quesarito or whatever I got.
The driver drove into the Taco Bell through the door?
Yep.
Like, that's
No, it's like a car wash, but...
insane.
But there's nacho cheese instead of
And they normally you get a misting of Baja Blast, right? And you just roll down your window and open your mouth like, oh, into your mouth. That is not what a mist sounds like, but it's fine. But that was the sound to me after I opened my mouth and the Baja Blast went out. But anyway,
Oh my.
so
That's disturbing.
You're going to the Baja Blast zone.
POV, you're being sent to the Baja Blast zone.
All I had to say, fellas, if you're going to Taco Bell and you're not getting a Baja Blast, don't even bother going.
But
to
what happened when you couldn't get Baja Blast?
You heard me. Went to the
I don't
car
remember.
wash.
I think
Where they weren't out of Baja Blast.
Were you not listening?
yeah, exactly. But no, I don't remember. They have like other frozen drinks, I think. I haven't been to a Taco Bell in so long.
Baja Blast single-handedly saves Taco Bell from being a D-tier fast food place.
Oh no, it's still D tier. It just happens to have one good drink.
I mean, but Baja Blast. It's just,
I mean, it's good, but
it's not just Baja Blast. It's Baja
okay.
Blast.
Hot take: Baja Blast is really good. And it's the best menu item at Taco Bell, but it's still not worth going to Taco Bell for. If you happen to end up at a Taco Bell,
Ooh, I see.
it's worth, like, that's the best thing you can get. But unless you just happen to stumble into a Taco Bell purely by chance, there's still no reason to go to a Taco Bell.
Like you're just driving on the road and suddenly a Taco Bell just like poofs into existence in front of you.
Materializes around your car.
And
it's
you
a car wash.
smash into the door in the middle
wow.
of the highway. You might as well get yourself a Baja Blast.
Well, it's kind of like how nobody really intends to go to like Waffle House or Denny's. Like you just kind of end up there. Often you don't even remember the series of events that led you to that
like an
moment.
SCP or something.
Kind of, yeah. No, really, it's like a cognito hazard SCP. It just kind of like you end up there and then you don't remember how you got there, but you're like, well, might as well get the Baja Blast. Like, I'm here, might as well make the most of it.
So since you kind of wandered without, it was just a series of events that led you to just kind of wander into being a part of this podcast.
That was a good segue, Seth.
So, what do you do now to make the show happen? What's your job?
My primary job, other than hosting and talking and getting us off track, is
He brings the Baja Blast every day.
yeah, I do. I bring the communal Baja Blast. We just have a giant bowl in the center of the studio.
Yes, a bowl.
Of all the things to put in Baja Blast.
We drink out of it with a spoon.
We each have extended spoons,
And we just from 6 feet away,
reach
just like-
from our seat and kind of daintily pick it up and then bring it up to our lips and go like the scene in Ratatouille where the food critic takes the small little bite of the ratatouille, then has a flashback to his mother or whatever.
Right.
We call those Baja Blast bags.
Blast back. With
we are
Baja Blast.
we are doing some serious marketing for Taco
We really
Bell.
are.
Yes.
We should be sponsored.
We should be sponsored.
Not
I
even
did just
sponsored.
say that they're a D tier restaurant, but
No,
That's
that's
true.
true. Yeah,
Specifically
I did
Baja
have an
Blast.
entire
Exactly.
segment. I don't know if it's going to be cut out or not, but I was just talking about how Taco Bell's not even worth going to, even for the Baja Blast. So,
Wait, if we cut that out, I'm boycotting this podcast.
No, we can leave that in. That's okay.
Okay, anyway. But
The car wash. Oh my gosh. That was the most fun I've had in like a week.
nice. I'm glad I could entertain you. But to
Yes, to end the story.
to conclude, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So to conclude,
What do you do?
what do I do? Oh
do you
yeah.
do on this
So I primarily get the guests for each week. I actually didn't have to this week because Seth lives with our guest.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't require him to text my roommate in order to like. I could have just talked to him. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, but normally I am the one who contacts and organizes with the guests. I find out we determine at our meeting each week who the guest is going to be, or who our primary guest is going to be, and who our backups are in case that person isn't available. I contact them. I work out with them what time and day, based on our availability, they would be able to do best or what they prefer, and then I coordinate that back to Seth. Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
my main role on the
That
podcast
was a
at this
great
point, at least.
Baja Blast back.
Yeah,
I appreciated that. Thank you.
yeah. Sponsored by Taco Bell.
Not actually sponsored.
not actually sponsored.
Yeah, we
But
meet
we could be. We could be.
Will. He is our social media guy. So he runs our Instagram. He distributes the episodes onto. We use a distribution service called Anchor. And so we distribute it on anchor.fm /auto-in, I think, if you want to go check that out and you don't know that it's on Anchor. But we also have
listening
it.
to the podcast now, and you're telling them, hey, instead of listening to our podcast, go check out our podcast.
Instead of
Well,
listening
maybe
to
they
our
prefer
podcast
Anchor
here.
over wherever they're currently listening
Wow.
to it.
That's
Like,
very
if you're
astute.
listening to it on Spotify, perhaps
Everybody
you
open
might
a
be
new
like,
tab.
I wanna check it out on Anchor, and then they'll go check it on Anchor, and they'll be like, hey, cool.
You know what we might need to do when Will Moulton's going to come for the last segment, and we're going to bring it all full circle. But I think he should bring in Spotify Wrapped and see if
should
we're
we
on
each
anybody's Spotify Wrapped.
Oh,
Is that like a rap list?
You never seen
Rappers?
Spotify Wrapped?
I don't even have Spotify. I'm like,
Me neither, but I have
okay,
Instagram.
So Spotify
so I've seen
Wrapped
it.
is every year they keep track of certain stats on
Okay.
your account. Usually every year they always have what your number one song that you listen to, like the most played song you played was,
Right.
your top 5 songs, your top 5 genres, and like your top 5 artists. And but then they usually have a little other stuff in there. Like one year they had like how many times you skipped songs, how many times, or how many just cumulative minutes you listened to
Okay.
music, what your most obscure genre was, stuff like that, you know.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that at all.
And then I think now they have like they give you like an award for something unique you did. Like for example, mine, there's a song that I listened to before it reached a certain number of listens.
Oh, wow.
And like, so it's like, wow,
Look at
you're a
you.
trailblazer. You listened to Skeletons by Snake Eyes like before 100,000 other people had, or something like that.
Oh, that's crazy.
And
Wow.
I'm like, cool. Which is surprising me because that's a really good song. So I don't know why it hadn't been listened to at that point, but I think it had just came out or something like that. But so they just do kind of fun stuff like that on Spotify Wrapped. I
Interesting.
mean, I can pull mine up if you want to.
That's like the only reason why I would get Spotify, because I don't have Spotify. But Spotify Wrapped is very interesting to me. I don't know if I'm on the minority on this, but because there's like this kind of thing going around where people are like, nobody cares about your Spotify Wrapped. Don't post it anywhere. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no, I'm very interested in
think
that.
it's
I
really
love
fun.
that.
I got super excited. Actually, the reason I found out that Spotify Wrapped came out this year is because I went on my I went on one of my friend's Insta stories, and they were posting Spotify Wrapped. And I was like, yes, it's out. And then so I immediately closed out of Instagram and like booked it over to Spotify, found my Wrapped, and went through it, and then posted all of it.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, it's probably gone now because it was on my Instagram
Oh
story. but-
man, I guess I didn't
I mean,
pay
I can
attention.
just show you my Spotify Wrapped if you'd like.
Probably off air,
yeah,
because
like
that's going to
off
be
air,
a
I can
long
just-
conversation.
Yeah.
I can just show it to you after we're done recording, but
Because we could probably all talk about music for a very, very long time.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, music, because we're all it's very interesting. We are all into, I think, the same genre, which is EDM, but also a number of other genres that the other people are not.
That's true.
Do you have my same music taste of the royalty-free music provided with the base edition of Adobe Premiere?
I can't say I've dabbled in that much.
Okay.
But
see, I only stream through Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
see, I like to listen to the songs of the birds outside when I go for walks.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, one could say.
That's true. That's true. One could say that, in fact. Yeah.
I think the songs of the birds are overrated, and I think that
Hey, the birds had a great soundtrack.
Hey, Seth, this is a conversation between me and Garrett right now. So,
yeah, how dare you insult Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds?
The final thing that we're going to get into before we get into our second break and send Will Diamant off with wonderful.
I'm leaving already.
I know. It's,
oh my goodness!
It's
have to send him back to the nether realm so quick.
Indeed.
I gotta go back to wait. What?
With all the zombie pigmen and is that what they're not called zombie pigmen anymore? Are they?
Not?
No,
I haven't gone to the nether.
They
since
are,
the
I think,
nether
but they
update.
also introduced piglins, who are like more smart creatures.
Oh,
who are not zombies. I think.
But do they still have zombie pigmen? I thought
Yeah.
they changed the name of zombie pigmen.
Did they? I don't know.
Maybe
I think they still got them.
Okay.
Hey, you want to hear how old I am?
4.
I remember before the nether was even in the game.
Whoa.
Wow.
I remember before Minecraft even existed. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I remember back when my dad told me we don't need Netflix because there's a Blockbuster right up the street.
Ooh. Okay, all right.
I remember that too. I was there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember because I looked over at you and I said, "This guy," and then laugh track started.
I remember when I was a lad in Mexico, and my mom took me to the Blockbuster, and she told me, "Don't go down that aisle because that aisle has some bad movies." And guess what I did? I went
straight down that aisle.
and I had nightmares because I was like, 7 years old, and just some of those box cover arts spooked me solid, man.
Just going to let you know what technology is involved in Auto In. Basically, all we use is the equipment here, which you might have seen if you've followed our stories and our posts on @AutoWinPodcast, which follow us on Instagram @AutoWinPodcast. We have these mics and this equipment. We didn't actually originally use the radio room equipment, but Chris gave us the okay, and he showed us how to use it, and it's frankly, it's been awesome being able to use all of these, because what we originally had to do was bring in 3 separate USB microphones, actually one from me, one from Will, as in the one who's here, and
that's me.
another one from the Will that is not here, Will Moulton. We had to use 3 different USB microphones we all had to bring our own computers, and at the end of the episode, we were all responsible for recording our own part of the podcast, and then we all had to send it off to me so that I could download them and then try and sync them all up in Adobe Audition, which is the software I use to edit this podcast. This has been a great exercise in helping me be better with Adobe Audition, and I'm excited to get into season 2 because we're gonna possibly be freed up to do a whole lot more kind of cooler things, because we don't have to cram content and extra segments and stuff into the episode in the meeting beforehand.
Maybe we'll have a continuous narrative.
So
Right, it'll be an audio drama.
you're telling me that you brought me in on season 1 when season 2 is right around the corner and it's going to be that much cooler?
We might have you back on.
Oh,
Hey,
when
you
put
could
it on
become a recurring side character in season 2.
You could always be on for the season finale.
Wow, that's
Oh, that's true.
That's so cool.
Just
They
be.
resurrect.
We could start
Because
it now.
It starts and ends with me.
It's the perfect time to start.
Oh my goodness! Wow, this is
Oh,
just got
that's
really
true.
deep.
I am.
We might need to have you say auto out at the end.
Oh my!
Oh my goodness.
You know what?
This is
That's what we're gonna do.
what we're gonna do.
Oh wait, but Will Moulton's gonna be here.
No! I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna sit right in that chair.
Yeah,
and
I'll
then-
gesture to you. You'll be in the edit suite, and I'll gesture to you, and you'll just come in and say
Exactly.
auto out while I'm doing the
I'll
outro.
just assume my alternative will form for a
Yes.
couple hours or something while he's in here.
Become the superhero.
Exactly, bird boy.
This
Bird boy.
idea is
Bird boy and Nestle.
Bird Boy and Nestlad. All right. Well, you know what else is comparable to prison?
What?
Breaks, because we're trapped and cannot talk. And that's what they do in prison. They're trapped in a cell
wow.
and they can never open their mouths to talk ever. If you've ever been in a prison, you know nobody talks because they can't. They will get arrested
I've never
again
been in a prison,
and put
so I'm
into
gonna
the same
take your
cell.
word for
I
it.
get the feeling that this is all just a build up to kicking me out, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't know how to ask you to leave politely, so
Okay,
we just
yeah.
called the cops on you and said
Okay.
you were
Trespassing?
trespassing,
Yeah, okay.
and also
Ask them to drive you
Okay,
home.
you'll be hearing from my lawyer shortly. Goodbye.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, in all honesty, thank you for having us. Why do I keep saying
you know
that?
what? Thank you for coming onto my podcast. I really do appreciate it. You know, I mean, ever since I asked you to host it for me, and it's just been nonstop rave reviews. So thank you so much for hosting my podcast.
Yes, it is an absolute pleasure to be a guest.
Will has actually been the mastermind this entire time, pulling all the strings.
The problem is as soon as I go to the second break, Will
not
he
like this.
fades out of existence.
Oh my goodness! In fact, I've only ever existed while I was on this podcast.
Yeah,
Like as soon as this podcast turns off, I simply cease to exist. I just don't know. I don't know when I'm going to appear back into existence.
Oh no,
next.
Will, look at your hand. It's like
Oh my
it's like
goodness.
Back to the
Oh,
Future.
please, not like this, Seth. Don't do this, Seth.
It's slowly moving away.
Please, Mount Rushmore, save me.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. While Will is fading into dust, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to bring Will Moulton on, and we're going to wrap this baby up. Season 1 is going to be a bit close to over. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be bittersweet, but it's going to be a great time. So thank you, Will, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a little bit, so stay with us, and we'll be back in a little bit, so stay with us.
Wait. Are we coming back in a little bit? Stay with us?
Yeah, so stay with us.
So I mean, like, hypothetically speaking, if they were to stay with us, would we be back in a little bit?
Okay, we're back. Hello, I'm here.
Oh, wow, that was a sudden introduction to we have all three hosts back here. This makes me feel a little bit like
the first
aw.
time since the first episode, I believe, right?
Yeah, we always had me, Garrett, and the guest, or me, Will, and the guest.
Yes.
How would you feel if like a fictional character voted like Democrat?
What?
I don't know.
What?
I was thinking.
I mean, I don't really care.
Okay, I
Like,
just wanted to know.
I would have
vote your values, I guess.
I would have a civil conversation with them, perhaps, if it came up.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I was watching like a TikTok about it.
Oh, no wonder. That kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know why I'm still surprised.
What else?
Interesting.
Yeah, what else do you have for us, Will?
Let's just go off on my tangents real quick. All right?
Okay.
Tangent time. Big money.
The first of a recurring segment that we'll have in season 2 called Tangents with Will.
To quote Vanilla Ice's movie Cool as Ice.
Yes.
What is the answer? In which case, what is the question?
That's like some Jaden Smith stuff
Because
right there.
he got it from Cool as Ice.
That's amazing. It's
So,
like
yeah.
Jaden Smith's How Can Mirrors Be Real If Our Eyes Aren't Real?
Wait, what? He wrote that?
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
James
actually
Smith's
kinda
been
clever
on
if
some crazy stuff.
Yeah, on his Twitter, he just posts like I don't know how to describe it, but stuff like how can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
Yes.
That could be, I guess, in a metaphysical way, very, very clever. But if it depends, I would have to hear his justification before I go, wow, that is deep.
If we see everything upside down, how can we know we're right side up?
What if the world
That's right
is
off the
upside
top of
down?
the head.
What if society is upside down?
That's right off the top of the head right there.
My
I think-
teacher is a panda.
I think I should like play some, ambient music in the background while Will just says a bunch of like philosophical deep statements off the top of his
I'm
head.
philosophizing.
Ready? Okay, this is here we go. Just philosophy
Speak
with
to
Will.
us, Master Will.
Yes.
I have traveled miles to come hear your wisdom.
Yes. The easy button it ironically, Staples is a conglomerate, right? Their slogan is their big kind of moneymaker is the easy button. But is it easy to buy from Staples?
Thank you for your wisdom, Will.
What if you need... We all use hand sanitizer, but should you not sanitize your whole body? I just got all that from looking at the hand sanitizer bottle.
Oh.
Why are we being sold hand sanitizer and not soul sanitizer?
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Let's have a little
Let's actually
impromptu
get lit.
competition here. We're gonna play ambient music in the background. We're gonna go back and forth. Garrett's gonna say a philosophical statement. Will's gonna say a philosophical statement. It's just gonna be two each. We're gonna alternate, and then I'm going to say who I think won. Okay, ready? Ambient music. Yes, that's nice. Garrett,
Yes.
give us your wisdom.
The cricket flies. The chicken walks. And yet they both have wings.
A patriot has riot in the title.
When the turtle hides in its shell, who is truly the coward?
When you go to the cinema, are you sinning?
I'm going to be 100% honest. This is actually a close competition. I think Garrett wins, though.
If you got... Well, no.
I'm going to...
Oh, hold on. No, you didn't let me finish.
Wait, I did.
No, hold on.
The
you didn't let
ambient
me finish.
music's over.
No, hold on. I got one more. If you go to Taco Bell without receiving a Baja Blast, did you truly have a Baja Blast?
Will wins.
Okay,
Shame.
on to the
Okay.
next things. Power plants, are they necessary? I
forgot we were having Will's hot takes.
I'm kidding.
Well,
no.
are they? I thought you were
Of
going to go in.
course, of course. No.
Wait, yes or no?
Take your own conclusion.
Power plants, are they necessary?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Decide
In
for
this
yourself.
segment.
All right.
Yeah, it's like we get like opposing views on it, but both views come from you.
Next segue.
Well, let's get into our favorite memories from making Auto Win. What are it's been a long road. It's been a long journey. We are at episode 14 and we've gone through highs and lows since I think it was August, maybe like 29th when we started recording this. And as I talk about it, I my heart chokes up a little bit. I gotta be honest. But what are some of our favorite memories and of laughs and such of making Auto Win?
Obviously, there are two debates that I have remembered.
Oh, of
so
course.
much. The sandwich burger debate
Yes.
and the fairy mermaid debate.
Yes, such good times.
Good debates. I enjoyed them because I was right in both of them, and I won both of them for all of you who are listening.
One of my favorite memories was Will Moulton to be specific, and I ran an episode on our own because Seth was out doing something. And it was Will, myself, and our guest Kristen, and that episode, I'm pretty sure Seth was able to like edit it and make it more cohesive, but it was just this like crazy, it was so much fun to record, but it was just this like crazy off the rails sort of like, we were just talking about like everything under the sun, and it was real, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words exactly what the experience was like for like recording that episode, but it was really fun and I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was such a fun episode to edit because I normally am here. So, it's funny to like look to kind of hear back at all of the things we talked about and be like, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. But this was a completely blank slate. Like I couldn't be there for the recording of the episode. And so I put it all in the hands of Garrett and Will to record the episode, and they did a great job. But I remember like listening to the podcast episode and just laughing all the way through. It was so great because I didn't know what to expect. Normally I would know what to expect, but this time I really just didn't know what to expect. So it was so great to edit. I had so
I
much
did
fun.
feel bad because I feel like we went a good 20 minutes over what we normally would do. Like the total record time for every segment was like at least 20 minutes over because we kept redoing sections and stuff and all that, and we kept going
Will,
off
stop
topic.
doing that. Oh, I was waiting for you to say whatever you were about to say.
I just like to make conversation, and sometimes that happens when I say "Have you?" and I try and think of something. I'm trying to make conversation, but I have nothing to talk about.
Have you
Well, what do we have for the agenda to talk
favorite memories for making auto win?
Oh my gosh, we got off topic.
Here's what we can do to kind of to wrap it all up. What have we learned from making this podcast and being together as one?
I learned that the real podcast
Was inside
Was
us
auto
all
win?
along. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
We really had no idea what our dynamic was going to be like, if it was even going to work. I know me and Will were talking about doing a podcast even before we started this. This was in the second semester of last year, but
Bagels.
and we would we knew that our dynamic was going to be fine, playing off of each other and everything.
Yeah, we do that on the regular. So
Yeah. When Garrett came in, just the three of us, we didn't know what the dynamic was going to be. We didn't know if we were going to be able to, produce, record a good amount of content where we would each be on topic, but we would each be also entertaining and, relatively off topic every once in a while to keep things interesting. We didn't know that, it was going to be as much fun as it ended up being.
Right.
And it was going to be, as I think it turned out very well, and I didn't really, expect much from it. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So I'm very glad that, this kind of shot in the dark that we all, became a part of just because we needed something to do, actually turned out as well as it did. And we got to bring on a guest every episode, except for episode 1, where we just needed to, introduce everybody to our new guests. So I think that was a really cool element of the
Dynamic.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cool because we had consistent hosts, but even with those consistent hosts, we rotated them out. Seth was here for all of them except for one episode, but Will and I were rotated, which weeks we did stuff. But also having the rotating guest as well was fun because then it always had an element of newness and an element of unpredictability to it.
Yeah.
Because each guest, they're people, everybody's different, right? So there was a different dynamic almost every episode because of the difference in hosts and also the difference in guests as well and how they kind of interacted with what we were talking about, how often we went off topic, what we went off topic about, just kind of how we all kind of spoke to each other. That there's just so much variation per episode on what was happening. I think it really kept it fresh, at least for me when we were recording, and I don't know about you guys, but I assume for you guys as well. But for us when we were recording it, it just it kept it from feeling like every week it's just, the same 3 people. We get up here, we talk about something, we go home or whatever. It's almost like we're getting to hang out with different people every week while also hanging out with each other, right? So it's pretty fun.
Absolutely.
There was a part of when I first came on here that I was like, hey, what kind of show is this going to be, right? Because I was initially told by somebody that this was going to be an informational type show, right? This was going to be a very informational type show. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to be a radio host, Kelly Raspberry or JC from Kiss FM. Love you guys. But I was like, oh no, this might be a boring. I was like, maybe I should, do something stupid. So
I love that. Not
in general, I did feel like, hey, I want to make this an entertaining podcast for a lot of people, not just people who are interested in broadcast. And even then, it's a bonus for people who are interested in broadcast. It's a fun podcast now. So it's more, I wanted to make it a little bit more accessible to the everyday person who might not be in broadcast, but is maybe a DBU student here who wants to be a part into this thing. And because of this podcast, I feel like that's been somewhat achieved.
Yeah, I've had some friends actually who are not a part of the broadcast department and are like pretty much as far removed from the broadcast department as you can get, right? Who have listened to it, and they will, like, primarily because Seth and Will and I are on here, right? Just because they want to hear what we're talking about, right? And then they're like, haha, you guys are great, you guys are funny, you guys are good hosts, like not to brag, but like, you know, just saying. But but they'll also be like, yeah, and I was surprised at like how interesting what you were talking about was, like, the actual on topic stuff. Not, I mean,
right, yeah.
They also enjoy the off topic stuff. But what I mean is, like, they're like, hey, I probably wouldn't have ever listened to a podcast about broadcast stuff in general, just because it has nothing to do with what they're trying to get into, right? But like, because they got exposed to it from us, they now think that's interesting. So
that's awesome.
It's cool that you never know where new interests are going to come from. And I mean, I've had that experience in my life as well. I've found weird interests, or not weird interests, but like, you know, interests in things that I wouldn't have expected through like places I wouldn't have expected, right? Like, I mean, the reason why I got super into music was because I got a free copy of the Iron Man 3 companion album that like had a bunch of songs, quote unquote, inspired by the movie. And it came free with like the Blu-ray copy of Iron Man 3 that my dad bought from Best Buy.
A superior movie. Fight me, anybody who wants to.
Well, but I listened to that, and there's a song on there called Some Kind of Joke, which is still my favorite song by a band named a.k.a. Nation. And then so I then started listening to the rest of a.k.a. Nation's library, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. I started listening to more alternative music, which is what their genre is. That then just got me into music in general. And then it just, now I like am addicted to music, and I legitimately like start going through withdrawals if I don't listen to at least 30 minutes of music a day. It's kind of a problem.
Wow.
But
yeah, for music, for me, it's always been about, I wasn't really ever into music till I gotten into high school, right? Where my band director, Mr. Ludlow, got me, like, I don't think he realized how much of an impact he really had on me. Him and Mr. Dunbar, they had a huge impact on my like love of audio and music, because after freshman year, I was like crazy on like Spotify. I would just put together 1 million different playlists just to go, this is like a good mix for, I don't know. Cause my first playlist that I ever made was like a parody of How I Met Your Mother's Barney Stinson's Awesome Times, No Chill, playlist, I think it was called, or Getting Psyched playlist, whatever. And it was like this thing on the sketch show that was like, I was really into. Not a sketch show. How I Met Your Mother's not a sketch show, but like it was like a skit they did. Mm. So, but after that, I was like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put together 1 million different playlists, right, going into this, and I've made over like 100 playlists on Spotify. You can follow me at Molten4 on Spotify. But this is really what I listen to. And honestly, audio, since like freshman year, I've really wanted to do a podcast. We are going to...
Seth is doing interpretive dance for us.
It's time to go for it all. We're going to go for the whole thing. Guess who just walked in? My clone.
He's rematerializing in front of us.
It's not clone, it's alter ego.
Clone.
He's rematerializing in front of us. Oh my gosh. It's a head. What head is it? It's Will Diamant's head.
Sometimes you just got to come back for round 2, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't want to die. What am I here for? Why do I exist again?
Why do I exist?
Why?
You're going to say auto out at the end of the outro.
I'm here to say something.
So do we truly, this is truly going to be the last words of season 1. Do we need to play ambient music for our last words?
Do it, please.
Okay,
Can you
ambient
play
music.
chimp noises?
Okay.
Wild chimp noises over ambient music.
Return to monkey.
Actually, I'm not even going to, it's not going to be ambient music, just chimp noises. Okay, last words are, this podcast has been fun. It's been a fun ride, and I am really, really excited for season 2 to come out next year.
You know what my favorite word is?
What's your favorite word?
Boogaloo. So the podcast for season 2 will be, we're going to change it to Auto In 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
Sounds good?
It's decided.
Yeah, there we
right.
go.
All
We've
right.
announced the new title. We'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in January.
Yeah. Well, this. Oh, did you have something else to say?
I was just going to say season 2 is going to be officially canonical in the Danganronpa mythos. That's not official,
Correct.
but it is official.
If I leave that in, that'll be the first and possibly only time you've mentioned Danganronpa, and I could leave it in the podcast.
Exactly. It's a sign of completion. It's symbolic, Seth.
Well, that being said, thank you guys for joining us for this ride, and join us next year, 2021. Season 2 is coming, and we are excited to see you guys there. We're going to be branching out of DBU broadcast and operations and stuff like that, and we're going to start talking about, we don't really know, but we're going to start talking about more general things that have to do with broadcast. And most likely, if you've listened to any of this podcast, we're going to talk about plenty of stuff that is not that. So stay tuned for that. 2021 is going to be pretty crazy. Until then, this has been Auto In, hosted by Seth Kelly, Will Moulton, and Garrett Walder, with special guest Will Diamant, with music produced and performed by Jesse Leicht and logo designed by John Brazino. Thank you for listening, and see you next year.
Auto out.